Hello, my name is Kerstin. I am a creative consciousness coach, and I obtained my qualification at the Creative Consciousness Academy. I'm working as a professional coach for more than 10 years now. And at the current moment, I have a lot of patients who suffer from tremendous stress, the feeling of being powerless, helpless, and not in control of what is happening. And I invited Marc Steinberg today because he created awareness creations to help our clients specifically to get more awareness, and then also to support them to create the life they choose to live. Marc, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, hi Kerstin and everyone who is listening and watching. My name is Marc Steinberg. I'm the founder of Creative Consciousness, an international movement to help people to tap into their essence and then to fulfill on their greatness. So it's all about human potential development and also about shifting into a more spiritual perspective of the world, of oneself, and from there more holistic actions. So that's my passion, that gets me up in the morning. That's why I created many things, amongst also the coach training program. And and that's how Kerstin and I are related. So I'm very happy to be here and dive into the deep stuff that is so important in these very special times.
Yes, thank you, Marc. Marc, you created some awareness creations, and as I said, they are there to help people to get more awareness and also to help them to create a life they choose to live. One of those awareness creations is the ladder of power. And let me quickly share the screen because, one moment, I would like to invite you to explain briefly the concept of the ladder of power, which for me always made a lot of sense. And I always could bring this across to my clients, and they get a lot of benefit out of it by just getting the concept. It seems to fail at this moment because the pressure from the outside is so big and there's so much happening. And how can we relate this concept to the current situation where there are a lot of people, they experience force instead of power. They experience taking away their liberty, their freedom of speech, choosing what they want to do. They go into stress levels and onto survival mode. So I'm giving the screen now for you, once for all of us.
The ladder of power I created with a purpose to give people the awareness and the consequential ability to shift from reaction into creation. The ladder of power is a tool that is a mindset shift. And without a mindset shift, we are not able to have sustainable or intelligent action. So in every situation in life, whether it is individual or collectively, we are always facing challenges that will not be automatically by us mastered. So we get challenged, we get pushed into reaction, and then comes the point, how do we deal with it? See, you cannot stop life from happening. That means on an individual basis, without the current world situation, there's enough stuff happening. You know, we get injuries on the physical body, our relationships may suddenly change, our financial situation may change without us being prepared. So life is happening, no doubt, whether COVID or not. Now we have a collective crisis, we have a collective massive challenge to which one now is exposed, and we are pushed into the lower ladders, the lower rungs of the ladder of power. As you can see, it is the reaction levels. So we have assumptions, expectations that it will all go away by itself. the expectation tomorrow it will be better, the assumption that this will be the end of the world, or it can go in every direction of the spectrum. So what are we going to do with it? Well, I tell you in a moment. First, I want to just make clear, if we don't act, if we don't shift from the mindset of reaction to creation, from victim to victor, what's happening is an automatic down spiraling into lower and lower and lower levels of life force, of vitality, of being able to do something. So the next level is naturally, everybody can see that, from expectations and assumptions. When we are not taking responsibility, we go into complaint. We complain about the ways the government is dealing with the situation. We complain about the destiny of mankind. We complain about all kinds of things. Then, if we don't act here, we go into frustration and aggression. We get aggressive, we get frustrated, we get stuck with low frequency energy, and not shifting that one as well leaves us in resignation, in giving up, in just saying, okay, that's it, I'm not going to play anymore. So no matter where you are on the rungs, on the lower rungs, it doesn't matter. You always instantly can shift your mindset. It is a decision. Now, it literally is nothing else but a decision. That means it starts here. And the decision is not based on how you feel. The decision is based on whether you are making the decision or not. So when you make the decision to choose to jump on one of the upper rungs of the ladder of power, for example, expressing a wish or allowing to have a wish, requesting, demanding, commanding, these are the upper levels of the ladder of power. Now, in translation, it means that you are taking action. Now, taking action in what direction? If you want to fight something that is so bigger than the individual, like the massive collective pandemic, what we are facing with all the measurements governments are taking, restricting, and so on and so forth. Taking action means a particular action, an action that you can control. So, for example, as I wrote in my blog from 4 weeks ago, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Ha! What does that mean? Well, I can't shift the situation. You probably can't either. Even demonstrations do not seem to cause an immediate shift, at least. So why don't you use your creativity and say, all right, we're going to go into a second lockdown now. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I can't do anything anymore. Have you ever considered the possibility to use the situation in your favor, making it a spiritual exercise, making it a condition that allows you to now have the time and become more aware that who you are is awareness, as I always teach from the very beginning in all my classes. You are not your body. You have a body, but you are not your body. You are not your thoughts. You have thoughts, but you are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings even, because feelings are just thoughts made experientiable. So who are you then? You are the awareness that is aware of all of that. But the lifestyle we live is not allowing us to have a real experience of that. We hear about it, we read from other teachers, all these spiritual concepts. Now, this time, especially when you're challenged, especially when your routine is interrupted and restricted, that's the time for you to now use this momentum and go inside. Become a person of a higher level of awareness. It is possible. Teachers for the last millennia in various cultures throughout all times have taught us, go inside, and there you discover that all what's happening out there is just a crazy illusion. Now, am I saying it's not real? No, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about the responsibility that you can tap into. And that's why the ladder of power is connected to a concept I developed, which are the 5 levels of responsibility.
Give me a
And
second
yeah,
to make it more tangible and more practical for the clients. You mentioned that you can do this no matter how you feel.
yes,
So a lot of people are so overwhelmed by their feelings, which mostly is fear, and they experience fear of that threat of getting terribly ill and losing their life. They have fear of being commanded into a situation. So we have different camps here, and they all experience fear. So how can you practically get out of this overwhelming emotion of fear and threat and stress, which brings us from that, yeah, this reptile part of our brain into reaction, but rather get out of it and go into the higher level of responsibility.
yeah, I love the question. First thing to realize is you cannot get rid of it. You cannot change nuclear energy, but you can change the way you use it.
Mhm.
Now, the energy of a feeling, fear, depression, panic, all of these feelings are high energy centers. We all know they grip us, they pull us into a very difficult state of mind. But this energy, to try to suppress it, not possible. And if it's possible, you're going to probably go into addictions and distractions, which are not a long-term good solution in the first place. So what you're going to do with it? So what you're going to do with it is you change its quality. What I mean by that is you need to direct your attention how to move this energy to a positive, creative purpose. This is the turning point. The turning point is that you make a decision that you're going to use this energy. The fear, what does it mean? I am afraid. I'm afraid. Now I use it as an opportunity for liberation. Okay, so ultimately, what is the fear about? The fear of dying, the fear of suffering. Okay, the fear of pain. Okay, that is very well known. The Buddhists are teaching nothing but that. They say fear is, or pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. The suffering is what we are dealing with here, and that only comes when we don't know what to do with that energy. So I say the only way out for everybody instantly is if you make a decision that you're going to use this opportunity now where you are in pain, where you are suffering, in order to make it a jumping board into a higher level of spirituality for yourself. Because inside you are still free. They can take anything away from the outside. You are always free. When your body is collapsing and dying, then you are still as an awareness present if you are managing to liberate this awareness of your awareness while you're still alive. And that's a great opportunity. So I encourage everyone who feels a resonance with what I'm saying to make this decision that you're going to use, no matter how painful and how difficult the situation is, for your spiritual development. And then the mindset is shifting. Then the pain is being used in order to detach from all the stories, all that what you tell yourself inside. You stop listening to that voice. You stop listening to all the stuff the voice is telling you. It's the end, it's all over, never can, gonna get better, you're losing your job, you're losing your relationships, you're losing your mind. Please notice that is a voice in your head talking. If you become aware that who you are is the one hearing that voice talking, then you already are shifting up on the ladder of power. Because then you're not the voice anymore, you have that voice. It's like living with a crazy roommate who's chatting all the time about the most crazy, horrible, awkward things. But first you need to unclutch. That means from the voice having you to you having the voice. Then you can make the decision for what you're going to use it for.
One of the most prevalent examples that this actually can happen was Viktor Frankel, who in the concentration camp experienced exactly that. And also what a lot of spiritual teachers are trying to bring across is that there is a gap, and you have to find this gap between what is happening and your voice, your story, and your action, so that you get out of reaction into action and use this gap in between to bring in your authentic self.
Yes, fully agreed. Long before COVID, I had a time in my life where I was really facing the experience of depression. Now, it was so painful being locked in a black box. That's how I experienced it back then. Inside myself, where I cannot escape anymore. If one is in a difficult relationship, you always can walk away. If you are in a difficult job, you can walk away. If you are having difficulties in your body, you can take it to the hospital and get healing. But if you are caught in a black box in your head, that's it. And this taught me that there's no other way than to jump into a higher state of awareness, the ultimate task for everybody, whether you are challenged or not. If you are looking for what is the most liberating state of being alive, how can you most love life, how can you most be creative, that is only when you are discovering that who you are in essence is awareness. And this is an experience. It is something we cannot understand. We can experience it.
I'm very glad you bring this up, Mark, because right now there are so many people on the edge of moving into a deep depression and getting caught up by everything happening outside. And I'm glad you brought your personal experience into that. I mean, we have a lot of people who get followed, like Byron Katie also had this experience of being in a depressed state. So I think this is kind of very relevant for a lot of people right now, not just spiritual teachers, and but also for people in their personal life. Mark, I would like to guide over to the 5 levels, or you say now, meanwhile, 6 levels, sorry, I missed that, of responsibilities, which is also, I think, a very difficult concept, let's say, for people who are not spiritually so aware, to comprehend, because how can I be now responsible for what is happening outside there? What am I doing? I mean, I don't want that. So I'm in resistance to that. I don't allow this to happen. If I could choose, I would do it differently. So those are all the voices I hear in my daily practice. And so what can you say to make this a little bit more tangible and bring this into work for our daily life and in this worldwide crisis situation?
I think we need to really start, and then it explains almost everything, with the understanding of the word responsibility. Now, I'm always using the quote I found many years ago. It says, the true meaning of responsibility is response-able, or the ability to respond. Whatever we may think, say, do, or feel, these are our responses for which we and no one else are responsible. It goes on, this is easy to see but hard to live, for we have been taught to believe and think the opposite. So we don't consciously choose our response, we react instead. And then we blame others for our reaction. No wonder we feel imprisoned by others and our circumstances. The enlightened, on the other hand, have broken the spell. They see the illusion. They take full responsibility for their responsibilities And as a consequence, they always hold their own destiny in their own hands. They are free spirits. So that means when we talk about responsibility, it's not that one is causing what's happening out there. Responsibility means that I am free in choosing my response to whatever is happening out there. Now, as Viktor Frankl, he couldn't change the conditions in the concentration camp. However, he had control, and he was aware of it, over the way he perceives what's happening and for what purpose he is using what he is experiencing. And that's exactly how I started responding in the very beginning of this conversation. So the 5 levels of responsibility are just a confirmation that we are not really using our power when we are not aware that we have the responsibility and the power to respond. Yeah? I'm always reminded also of the quote in the first Spider-Man movie from Marvel Comics, with great power comes great responsibility. Now I say the opposite is as well true. With great responsibility comes great power. So by not responding from within, from the point of creation, we are also not connecting to the powers that help us making our response a reality. So when life is giving us lemons, make lemonade. What would be the lemonade in your personal situation right now? Maybe you have difficulties with your body or with your relationships or with not being able to travel or whatever is going on, or with your job, right? Being overwhelmed, what are you going to do? Or you don't like to work at home and all that stuff. I'm very aware of that. But hold on, just take a look. If you were free to respond, not change things, if you were free to respond, how would you respond so that you could even experience meaning, purpose, and a great opportunity in those restrictive times as we live right now?
I think this is very, very important what you just said, Mark. It's, yeah, I think that makes so much sense. And I also think it gives a lot of hope, and it empowers us. That, from my perception, I would say if we are aware of that and we are applying this, we will gain so much power.
Yes.
Or in this, and that's what you say, we have a collective consciousness.
Yeah.
So we can create changes from there.
Yes. What's the catch-22 is always we are not stepping into that response ability because we're not aware of it, number one. And because we don't step into that, we are not connecting to power. So we are left with being a victim, having no power, and being just overwhelmed. And that is the catch-22. And the whole thing starts shifting with awareness. Hey, I am not responsible for what's happening out there, but I am responsible and having the power to choose the way I respond, my relationship to it. This is the key. The moment you are doing this and choosing your response ability, the way you respond, you'll see that with that you connect to powers of creativity. Suddenly, now you're restricted to 5 square meters, for example. Okay, make something of it. And you see, you can make the most magnificent lemonade out of it. Suddenly, it becomes an opportunity to live a monasteric lifestyle for a couple of weeks or months even, yeah? To center, to find your essence, to purify yourself from all what's not necessary, all the habits, all the familiarities. They only hold you back from a spiritual perspective. Literally, this is a time for many people to wake up so deeply that we can maybe even look back in many years to that time where we said the crisis provoked the spiritual awakening of the collective that was needed in order to save our planet, in order to save our civilization. Because if we just go on this way we do, we all know we're going to end up in a horrible state. So I see it as challenging, yes, and I see it also as a great opportunity. And I just invite everyone to join changing your perspective.
Thank you, Marc. I think this was very deep. I'm very grateful, and I must tell you, I enjoy your passion, the way you're gonna explain it, and it's there. And I get that you are living that, and that you are fully committed and fully in that space. And I'm grateful for that. Marc, it was really a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope that a lot of clients gain a lot of insight from that. And I hope this can go viral. I just empower and encourage people to be responsible.
Yeah, nobody needs to get under the wheels. Nobody. But nobody will also rescue us. We have the key, and the key is simple. You don't need to study books. You don't need to meditate for the rest of your life and all the rest of it. The key is exactly in what I said, and to consistently remind us every time I have it, because our brain is wired, right? Every time I have it, we fall back into the victim state. Wake up. What is my choice? Be to look at the current reality that is presenting itself in front of me, and then make choices that leave you freer and freer and freer. You connect to higher levels of power, and then you'll see that you have the destiny under control. You don't have under control what's happening, but you have your destiny under control. And that's my heartfelt wish for everyone.
Marc, thank you so much for this awesome insights and for this. I think it's a little bit of an enlightenment already, and I think that freedom is absolutely a matter of choice. Could you please tell our audience where they can get in touch with Creative Consciousness and gain more information?
Yeah, sure. Website is very simple, creativeconsciousness.com. And when you are there, you have, for example, the opportunity to do a free personality test where I will respond to you not via email, but with a video message. So that's a great start. We also have a masterclass there. Masterclass is 5 videos where I explain in detail how creation works, how you change your frequencies, how you raise your frequencies, and how you deal with bending reality. All of that very exciting, and today even scientifically certified material is available. It's called Masterclass. There's also the opportunity to choose different levels where the Masterclass is connected with a 30-minute advisor session with one of our experienced affiliates. Or if you want to go into a 45-minute session with a lead trainer, or if you want to, you can even choose to go into the 60-minute session with myself. So just take the next step if you like, and on creativeconsciousness.com, you'll see all the details. Thank you.
Thank you, Marc. It was really a pleasure to talk to you today. Thanks a lot.
Likewise. Stay safe and be creative.
Okay.